And welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus, 106 in the afternoon on this Friday, December 20th. Christmas just 5 days away. Hopefully you got all your shopping done, although Mother Nature, she'll cooperate as we head into Christmas week, as we've got some milder and quiet weather. So that's great news for anybody traveling. Last minute shopping, you name it. The weather looks pretty decent. Bridgette, how much snow did you guys end up getting?
I'd say probably 5 to 6 inches from the looks of it.
Okay.
There's plenty, and call it good or bad, the ground's frozen underneath, so it's a little bit easier to blow and move snow, unlike what we've had some years where we get an early snow, the ground's not froze, it gets muddy underneath, and that is a lot bigger problem than one might expect.
Yeah, no doubt. And we picked up about 4 to 5 inches. I had 5 at my house. I think the airport reported right around 4. So general 5 inches. There were heavier amounts just to the north and west of where you're at, Bridgette, and some areas up around Devil's Lake reported upwards of 7 to 8 inches of snow. So a nice snowpack. This is great for winter enthusiasts. Unfortunately, some of that will be melting as we head towards next week. But we're keeping an eye on right around the turn of the new year. There's a large storm system on the LRC that is expected to affect the northern and central plains, and this is going to be a big one. And again, our models are just starting. Some of the other models that we use are just starting to pick up on it, but it's been on the LRC calendar. So if you have any travel plans right around the New Year's Eve time, you might want to wait and see what the forecast holds. But after that storm system moves on by, a big dump of Arctic air comes in from Canada for the first couple weeks of January, which isn't unheard of, but just kind of giving everybody a heads up.
Well, watch out for that, because as you look for more cold air, some of you got a pretty good insulation of snow. You look at Walhalla got 10 inches, Cavalier 9, Fort Ransom down to or up to Findlay, even out to Harvey, only had about 6 inches of snow. So it really matters where some of those tight bands laid over the top of you. Warren, Minnesota, only 5. And usually Warren is the place that gets plenty of snow. Maybe you were just getting a little forgiveness because this next round of cold might be super chilly. And Bismarck, North Dakota, just over 3 inches. For those of you who may still have some of our WDAY rain gauges, just remember, if you have them outside, you can take the center tube out, take the top cap off, and now it will measure your snowfall. So don't be afraid to get in touch with us. You can either call 701-293-9000 on the Red Wing Shoe line, or you can send emails, agorweather@flagfamily.com, and you can share with us what you're getting for snowfall totals.
Yeah, that always helps. And then we pass it along to the National Weather Service, and they use that as a comparison of what they forecasted and what actually fell. So it's a big help, a big help to the National Weather Service when we get local reports from our viewers and listeners out there. So feel free to shoot those to us, and we can pass those along to the National Weather Service. And no snow in the forecast for today. In fact, we're looking at temperatures in the single digits. Clouds have moved back in, and just a little filtered sunshine, but winds are light, thankfully. Temperatures in the single digits, either side of 0 currently, and we'll warm up to about 6 today. That's about it, with light winds, thankfully. And we'll briefly drop down close to 0 tonight before we see temperatures rise towards morning as southeast winds increase. Now, Bridgette, I know a few people that'll be out tailgating early. And I mean early tomorrow morning.
Well, understand that lots open for the reserve section, I believe, at 5:30. The rest will open at 6.
Why not just camp out there?
Because you cannot, because the Fargo Dome does not allow that, because it is a multi-use facility.
Sure.
So the reality is, for those who are going in early, and normally I'd be right there in line with you, but even for me, that's a lot. That means getting in there at 5:30, setting up your sites, and you got to be tearing down by 10 in the morning to get everybody into the game in time. So I'll see you at the game. Go Bison.
Yep.
And you never know, there might be some places that folks are headed to afterwards as well. Good luck to the Jacks, but Go Bison.
Exactly. And bundle up if you're going to be tailgating. We'll have temperatures.
Chilly.
Yeah, upper single digits and a breeze out of the southeast about 10 to 20. So it'll feel like it's below zero. So that's definitely bundle up weather. As we head into Sunday, though, it does warm up into the upper 20s. Still a lot of clouds around. Maybe an isolated snow shower towards Sunday evening or more likely Sunday night. But even that doesn't look like a big deal. And then we'll be in the 20s to start next week and 30s from Christmas through the end of next week. Again, if you have any travel in the Northern Plains all next week, it looks quiet. So that is just fantastic news, both prior to Christmas and just after Christmas. So finally, some good news in the weather department. Although we really haven't had, this was the biggest snow, Bridgette, that we had this last storm. In over a year. We did not have a storm this large, and it wasn't even that big, but that just shows
but still, over last year, we could tell that last year we were just not getting hardly anything for snowfall amounts. So, yeah, this does make a big difference.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt. And also want to let people know we are going to register another person on our show today. Won't tell you when. You're going to have to listen for the sounder, but that's for our wonderful trip out to Vegas to see the Eagles at the Sphere. And if you've never been to the Sphere, I haven't myself. I know friends that have been. They said it's an absolute amazing and incredible experience. So you'll want to be listening as we register another person for that fabulous trip coming up.
Big thank you to American Security and Gate, also Frontier Airlines and Kingpin Social. Don't forget this round trip includes airfare for two on Frontier Airlines from Fargo to Vegas, a hotel stay, 2 tickets to the Eagles, which that concert is January the 25th, and $500 in spending cash. So yes, keep an ear out. You never know when you want to be the right caller to win, and we'll have you dialing up. Not yet. Everybody calm down. It's not yet.
You got to wait for the sounder. And we don't know when it's going to be. That's up to Addison. Addison, when do you want to give any clues on when you might play that, or probably not?
I think sometime in the next 45-ish minutes, sometime during the show.
Wow, he's such a tease. But yeah, be listening for that. We also have a special guest, and Chris has been on our show before. Bridgette, explain what Chris does.
So I don't think this is going to be a surprise for many when they hear Chris Sherman's name. He is with Tech Support Farm, and Chris does a masterful job of working with farmers and agribusinesses in the area when it comes to their cybersecurity. He sent some talking points over today that we want to make sure to visit about. Some of those things include a mobile device management, which I'm not entirely sure what that is, but at least I can say that word, unlike multi-factor authentication. And look at me concentrate on like I'm a kindergartner.
Right.
But then, workplace policies. So if you're a farm that employs a number of people and they bring their own phones, how can you manage some of those devices? And I think there's a plethora of other questions that we're going to want to talk about with Chris. There's a shift in how farming payments are happening in relationships based on generation, size of farm, where they're, what agribusinesses they're working with, and so forth. And let's not forget, it's that time of the year where so many of us are making electronic movements. And by that, I mean, just in the last week, I have had to send secure documents to an accountant, to an insurance agent, and also, I think one of them was also to the bank. So when you're doing that, and if you can throw state government in there as well, are those documents secure? Or better yet, how can you do a better job of making them secure is probably the bigger question that we have for Chris. So we definitely want to touch on some of that as well and take your calls. So if you have questions, you can reach us on the Red Wing Shoe line, 701-293-9000. Before we get to that, just a little history lesson for all of you. Christmas trees. Now, there's a few of you out there who like to go cut your own. Have your own Clark Griswold moment. Well, just so you're aware, the first Christmas tree farm recorded actually occurred in 1901. Anyone who want to take a guess at what state that Christmas tree farm occurred in? I'm Addison, Dean, Chris, our guest. Any ideas, you guys?
Minnesota.
That was going to
Nope,
be my guess.
not Minnesota.
No.
Nope. Chris, do you have one for us?
Chris is actually he's out in the lobby right
now.
now.
He's outside.
He's not
he
quite
hasn't come
in
to
yet.
a mic yet.
No.
Okay.
I'd say Colorado then if it's not Minnesota.
It's New Jersey.
Whoa.
New Jersey, where our super fan Steve Bellows from, New Jersey is known as the Garden State because they really actually have a lot of truck farms, produce farms, etc. And Mercer County, Missouri in 1901 was the home of the first tree farm started by W.V. McGalliard. And he planted 25,000 Norway spruce pines with the hope of harvesting them a year later. And so by the 1920s, commercial farms were popping up all over the place. Recently, we've had an opportunity to interview a Christmas tree farmer and talk about the things that they do. That gentleman, Derek Hall, was from Wisconsin. They talk more in precision now using drip irrigations, precision fertilizer management, drones, GPS mapping. Trees are shaped and trimmed throughout their lifespan so that they look just right when they land in your living room. And the most popular species, Fraser fir, Douglas fir, and Scotch pines. If you haven't gotten your Christmas tree yet, you can probably go find a real one in a lot somewhere. I don't even know where because I wasn't out looking for one. So you're going to have to go check them out, help out those Boy Scouts and local other community organizations that are looking to sell trees. And I bet there's probably someone out there listening who would say, I have trees for sale, and they could call us on the Red Wing Shoe line, 701-293-9000 to let us know if they have a tree available. We'll send people your way. Meanwhile, we're going to listen to the market report from the Northern Ag Network before we're joined by Chris Sherman with Tech Support Farm. Be right back. Welcome to Weather and Ag in Focus, and thank you for joining us. And Amanda, I saw your email, and she makes a great point when she says the freeze-thaw cycle that we get is not easy on travel because it can create those icy spots. And there's that other thing I want to mention And that is with that freeze thaw. That can be a little tougher on our livestock because our vet yesterday, Dr. Emily Fox mentioned that when you have that freeze thaw cycle, it's hard for them to regulate their body temperatures as well. In fact, I had on Twitter just a couple hours ago was talking about grievances that are happening in 2024, and one is chopping ice out of water tanks. By the way, we're going to do that on Monday here on this show. So if you have some of those grievances, it's Festivus, if you will, you can go ahead and share those, and I will post a reminder on our Facebook page so that you can reach out with all those grievances that you might want to have people talk about, and we can. Meanwhile, we are going to talk about what's going on when it comes to cybersecurity and so much more. And we're joined by Chris Sherman. Chris, how are you today?
I am good. How are you?
Fabulous. Thank you. So, all right, mobile device management. Let's start talking. You've got a couple of facts for us, but then what is MDM?
So MDM is essentially the software that manages cell phones, tablets, iPads, any sort of mobile device that is not a computer. And why that's important especially for agriculture, is because most of our operations these days seem to be going more and more to mobile devices, right? We have iPads or tablets in the tractors. We have cell phones, and everything that we're doing is all, cloud-based with software. And so really adding that level of security is really important to those devices, because if we do get hacked, then largely our life is on our cell phones or it's on our tablets.
Now, Chris, I recently got hacked, and that's the first time maybe I'm lucky, but over 15 years. And somebody's trying to steal the identity. What percentage of the farm industry are getting hacked at this day and time, roughly?
First off, I would say, have you ever thought about calling a place called Tech Support Farm? No. No.
I will now.
Yeah. So, for farms, it's really underreported. And
why is that?
A lot of it is because of the value. And unfortunately, when, the FBI or, the federal government are actually looking at numbers, they're looking for those high dollar, numbers. So if you get like a Cargill or, a co-op or something that is paying in the hundreds of millions for a breach, that is when it becomes an issue.
Sure.
The other problem that we're running into is the lack of structure in the way that we're supposed to be reporting. And so, nobody knows, are you supposed to call your local police department? Are you supposed to call the sheriff's office? And really, like, if anybody is out there and you tell them that they need to call the FBI, what's the number? I mean, who do they talk to? It's like trying to get in touch with the IRS. And so,
but they can get in touch with you real quick.
Yeah, yes, they can. But I would like to throw out there, they will never email you and they will never call you. And approach you that way. You might get a call back from an agent, but yeah, from that standpoint, it's really hard to put numbers on it.
Okay.
What we do know is that, in a lot of cases, we're treating also these breaches on farms as personal breaches, because our farms are a lot of times synonymous with us as an individual. And so really, we're trying to standardize the way that we do the reporting, and that's part of the reason that we partner with farms in order to give that structure.
Okay.
And I think that with farms not necessarily reporting, you give a couple of really big and good reasons. Some of it is also embarrassment.
Oh,
I don't want to share that something happened to me because that means I wasn't doing a good enough job. And so there's a lot of pride. And I don't just want to limit that to farms and agribusinesses. I think that's all of us. We take a lot of pride in being self-sufficient and taking care of ourselves. And when that doesn't happen, we're like, oh, crap. Absolutely. I don't really want people to know about this. Yeah. That's a big thing. Yeah. So that makes a huge difference. But as you've talked about this, Chris, some of the points that you brought up today. So MDM, physical security. What are some of those examples?
So when we think about, like antivirus, or, we think about some of these other, security solutions that would sit on our computers or our servers or some of these other places, MDM is actually providing that, but it's simply on your cell phone or your tablet. The nice part about it is that, not only does it provide security, but it also provides a lot of the backup protection. It gives you the opportunity, if your device is lost or stolen, we can wipe that device clean. So any any personal information or anything like that is completely wiped off of there. And a lot of these new solutions that we have coming, especially onto the marketplace, they have the ability to find the device itself. So in the event that you're out in a field and you drop your phone or something, which has happened to all of us, you can actually find that device. And sometimes, obviously Apple has it, and there might be some, features with Android. But by and large, this is a centralized software that allows you to do it across all applications or all devices. And so you're not looking for, find my iPad or trying to remember what your account is. We can just find it just like that for you. So the other thing too is, if if you were prompted to change your password and you forgot it, you're not standing there at the Verizon store trying to get them to undo it for you. We can literally, within 10 seconds, just, reset your password for you. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that's convenient.
Yeah.
All these services are a big deal. I know plenty of farmers. It's not just that we set a tool up on the drawbar on a chisel plow or whatever, and you take off, or you set it on the wing of a planter, and then you find that crescent wrench 3 years later. Phones, that happens all the time.
Yep.
They get lost in hay fields, falling down the grates at elevators and other processing areas. The fact that you can pinpoint where those things are for recovery or just replacement if
Yep.
they're that far gone is a huge deal. And do a lot of folks offer that? I think most of us probably just rely on our cell phone store, but what you're saying is there's probably a better way to do that.
I
right?
think that it is a better way to do that, simply because not only are we relying on our devices to know where they are and to access our stuff, but at the same time, think about the number of applications that, as a farmer or a grower or a producer, you're handing out to your employees. And so what this allows them to do is that it allows the farm to control the access to those applications. And we've all had those, unfortunately with the labor market, you hire somebody, you think they're going to do great, and then 3 months later, they just kind of peter out on you and they disappear, and they're a no-call, no-show. And now they have all that access to your applications on their device. And so what this does is it allows you as the producer to lock that and pull those back, even if it is on what's called a bring your own device or the employee's device. It's essentially you have the opportunity to control the applications that you're using on your farm.
Wow.
How quickly can you shut something like that down?
As quickly as they call us. Okay. We have the application right on our computers or our cell phones, and we have hotlines 24/7. So if there's an issue or somebody suspects something or anything like that, it's literally within a matter of minutes we can have them locked out. So
those are huge gaps in time if it's not being controlled.
And, think about, let's say you go to, a Sioux game or something like that, or you're out in an event or you're in the cities or something and you lose your phone, it's call us and we can either locate it for you or we can shut it down and lock it out. So, and really, when we start thinking about like your financial, liability out there, we have Google Wallet, we have Samsung Wallet, we have, Apple Pay, we have all of these different things that have all of our credit cards and all of our bank information, gift cards and rebates and all that kind of stuff. And really, walking around with those devices and them not being protected is really like leaving your car unlocked.
Oh, that's not a good idea either.
Yeah, that's a good analogy too.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people think of it like that though, do they?
No, they do not. No. I mean, and think about, do you really want all of your pictures and your downloads and your emails and everything that is on your phone? If you really take that into, account and really do an inventory on all of the digital assets that are on your devices, it's really, it's kind of shocking actually.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It is. So much more for us to discuss. And I want to dive into a little bit more about the MDM, as you mentioned, but then also just a shift in how people are doing payments on farm and how you can probably help protect some of that as well, Chris. Yeah. So bottom of the hour news is next. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Weather and Ag in Focus. And today's guest is Chris Sherman. He's with Tech Support Farm. Chris, we have been talking about the mobile device management, MDM. You mentioned some things when it comes to farm security, such as managing user access to apps and then being able to enforce security policies. So I worked in the corporate world where my phone was owned by the company, meant that I had to do a certain number of password resets, and every so often I was pushed to do just a variety of updates and that type of thing. Can you do that in a small business or for a farm as well to make sure they're operating best speed, less chance of being hacked, all of those types of things?
So I guess I would back that up a little bit and also kind of say that we can, instead of enforcing, we can go to the next level and we can actually set those passwords for you so your employee does not have to worry about it, right? We can actually go in and we can have all of that done and taken care of so they don't know what the login is. They don't know what the password is. And if they do, make a mistake or they leave the company, they have no access to it anyway. So once we remove those privileges and we remove that application, whether it's, livestock management or irrigation or grain management, we can pull all of that and they have no idea how to even get back into it. It's not even like they know what the username and password is. Yeah.
That's impressive.
And then to, go further into that, we can not only do that, but we can actually go and we have two different types of policies. We have a company policy. So if your farm actually goes out and buys the cell phones, we can do all of the maintenance and the updates and all the background stuff for you and get that taken care of. But we have what's called a bring your own device policy. And so what that does is that literally controls just the applications that you have on your farm or your company, and it allows, it gives the employee the privacy. We do not have access to their device or anything like that. It is simply control over the employee applications.
Are you finding a favorite one way or the other for people to do that, whether it's a bring your own device, etc.?
It really depends on the farm type or the customer type. We have some where we have compliance aspects or regulations that we have to meet, and we do encourage those employers to buy the devices, and then that way we can manage the device from top to bottom. In a regular family farm type situation, a bring your own device policy is significantly easier to work with. The biggest problem that we have is helping people understand that we do not have access to seeing anything inside of the device. We have no idea where you're going, what you're doing. We have no idea any of that. The privacy is a huge piece of that. We don't realize, and it's kind of funny because we download applications that are literally monitoring everything that we do. Google Maps can tell you exactly where you are, what you're, whether you're driving or you're walking. It can tell you if you're idling. I mean, it can do all kinds of crazy things. But, and people are fine with that, right? But from this standpoint, it really freaks them out when suddenly it's somebody that you know and they have a software on your phone and they suddenly wonder if, they wonder if you can see what's going on in the background, and that is not the case at all. We simply protect the device and manage those applications.
That's good. Yeah, and I think that's probably the first question you get.
Yeah. People suddenly see arms crossing and they're kind of side-eyeing you like, really, what are you doing? But no, that is so important that everybody understands this is simply a security measure and managing the applications for the farm only.
Now, Chris, I've noticed lately on my devices that both email and both my phone that I've had an increase in spoofing. Is this a thing just because it's around the holidays, or is this just increasing in general? And how is that affecting the farming community as well?
I think the answer is both. And from what we've seen in other attacks and other, in other instances, we know that it is definitely crimes of opportunity, right? And everybody knows that now is the time when everybody's in the office and everybody's doing their taxes and everybody's kind of working on, operating loans and all this kind of stuff. And so, yes, you will definitely see a significant increase in spoofing, whether it's from your lenders or, government agencies or things like that. And they will be really, really good. They will have logos and they will have their emails and everybody's names will be spelled correctly. And they'll be actually, the things that we look for is number one is who's the email coming from? right? If it is not an official company or, government email, do not open it. And then actually call that agency or call that, that company and report to them that this is happening. That is absolutely
I just
critical.
delete them. I don't bother, but that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a real
Yes,
good
definitely
idea.
report them.
Okay.
So this time of the year, we're doing so many things with confidential information, taxes, banking. Folks are wrapping up their operating loans on farm, insurance policies. Would VPN networks help with these things, or what can we be doing better to protect ourselves as we send sensitive information? Because I feel like a lot of days the post office isn't the same, this most secure method either.
I would say that the post office is not the least secure method. What I would say is that really it's who you're responding to. Okay. If you're getting an email and it's from your bank, you need to make sure that, the email address is correct. You need to make sure that, the person you're talking to is somebody that you at least know or you've spoke with them on the phone. There is nothing wrong with calling and verifying that you got an email. Most everybody's signature at the bottom of the email is going to have their title and their phone number and contact information.
Right.
Call them and double check, right? If somebody calls you and says that they're from an institution, don't give them information. Simply tell them, I will call you back in 5 minutes. What is the best number I can reach you at? And then you actually call the institution itself. Don't rely on them to be like, yeah, here's my number and call you back.
Right.
You literally look up the number, verify that that's the one. And I would encourage, don't hesitate to call, companies like ours and just, and we can help you verify that. I mean, it is so important right now, especially, think about any of the nonprofits that you might deal with or encounter. Now's the time when they're asking for donations and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
If you get emails from those people, call them up on the phone and ask them,
Sure.
did you guys send out this email? Want to make sure that this is the way you actually want this to be done. We have way, way too many of these, incidents happening. I think in the past 72 hours, we've had 3 spoofing attempts and just being reported to us and that we've had to respond to. So the more information you can provide us, the better, and we can help out.
Right.
I feel like ACH payments have really increased in the last few years. We're seeing a lot more of them. Any tips for those who are going to be doing ACH? I'm sure it's similar to what you were just saying. Call, verify, make sure it's real before you send anything. But what if you're the farm making the request? How can you make sure you look more legitimate to those where you need to request payment?
So when you're making the request, the one thing that I would definitely say is make sure that your emails are secured, right? Because the issue that we have is that if you're sending your information on a Gmail or a Yahoo or dare I say AOL or Hotmail or something like that, those emails are not secured encrypted emails and they can be intercepted. And so if you're sending your ACH information and saying, please pay to this account number, you need to understand that can go both ways, right? If you're sending that information out, somebody can take that information and make draws on your account if they get that information pulled out of there. The other thing that I would say is that, what we also are seeing is where clients are having ACHs being taken out of their accounts that were not authorized. Mm-hmm. And so the one thing that the banking industry has done is created this system called positive pay, where every time you send out a check or every time that you send out an ACH or something like that, you have to submit back to the bank and just give them the register and let them know in real time what you've done. And that way, they can verify. And if there's purchases or things like that have not been submitted they will hold it for 24 hours and then they will reject it. So, if you have a produce or a company that is getting bills paid out and somebody takes an ACH out of there and it was not authorized, they will shut it down right away.
That's a good idea.
Chris, I hear the term digital wallet a lot more often. Can you explain that? Because I'll be honest, I'm not really comfortable with using one. Maybe I should be, because I see a statistic that digital wallets are projected to overtake debit cards at point of sale by the year 2027. And I know farmers at grain elevators, at other agribusinesses are using digital wallets much more. What's your take on them?
I'm in the same boat. I don't like them either.
That's fair.
It's just technology that is really awkward to get used to. First off, what they do is they take your account information and they just hold it inside of whatever account it is, whether it's Google or your iCloud account or whatever it is. But then what they use is this thing called NFC technology, and so it's very similar to Bluetooth in that it communicates to devices in the nearby area. And so you just take out your phone. If your NFC is turned on, you select which card you want to use, and you tap the device. It sends a signal to that device and gives it the information. Really, the problem is that not only are we worried about skimmers, those devices that sit on top of credit card machines or inside of credit card machines, however the hacker is set it up. But the other one is, what if you don't have a good security posture on your account, then access to that is significantly easier to obtain. And so a good example would be, and maybe this isn't the best, but if you go to a public library or you're at a public location and you log in to your Google account and you forget to log out, or you forget to log out of your whatever account it is, all of that is sitting there. And so the next person that jumps on or somebody sitting on the network sees that that's open and they see that profile is there. Not only can they can access all of your financial information and all of your cards inside of your wallet, but they can get all of your other information, any sort of financial documentation, pictures, any sort of data that you store there. That's why I think it's really, really important that we keep tabs on where we're storing passwords. I mean, that's another big one. If you have passwords, that's like leaving your keys in your car on the front seat. It's just, yeah. So really,
just
we
take
need
this,
to be,
please.
yes, we need to be very mindful of where we're storing our information and how we're securing it, making sure we are using two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication, encryption. All of that is very, very important for self-security.
Chris, you do a marvelous job of simplifying so many things for us. Again, I haven't excluded the idea that you should just come out to my house and lock everything down. But if others want to have you come out and talk to them about their farm or their business, how can they reach you? What are some of the methods?
You can actually reach us. You can send us an email at info@techsupport.farm or find us on techsupport.farm. You can call us at 701-446-8518. If you want to get together, a group of your neighbors, the ones you get along with, and you want to, do like a coffee session or something like that, or if your insurance agent wants to talk about it, we are always open to doing, security, meetings and talk about cybersecurity, and protecting yourself. It is such an important topic, and it is not something that has been talked about enough in agriculture. And we are always happy to have that conversation. And we can get as deep into the weeds as you want, and we can talk about, situations that you're encountering. We'd love to help you guys out.
That sounds awesome. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
And that'd be good.
Absolutely.
It'd be a good Christmas present, wouldn't it?
Yes.
See?
Yes,
Yeah,
for sure.
There you go. Yeah. Well, Chris, thank you so much. And when we come back, we're going to go over a couple more ag topics. We still have yet to qualify somebody for our wonderful trip out to Vegas. So make sure you're listening. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And there's your sounder. We'll take caller number 7 to qualify for our trip to Vegas. Bridgette, do either of us get to go?
So you can certainly pay your own way, Dean. But yes, this is for our caller who's qualifying. There's the opportunity to fly on Frontier Airlines, a hotel stay, tickets to the Eagles. Again, that concert's January 27th, and it'll be at the Sphere, and you get $500 in spending cash. Now, on Monday, December 30th, from 3 to 5, you can go to Kingpin Social, and you can qualify in person. So it's not just listening here on the station. You get to go and see folks in person as your chance to qualify. That'll be Monday, December 30th, from 3 to 5. That's the next one up. So wait for those. It'll be exciting. And I'm kind of excited to hear who caller number 7 is going to be. I'm sure it's a fast and furious dialing.
It is. I think Addison has got caller 7. Addison, he's got caller 7. We'll put that person on the line here in just a bit. But let's hit a quick ag topic while we're waiting there, Bridgette.
We've got students that are getting ready for fairs and shows and whatnot before too terribly long. And judges for those livestock shows have a little advice for the youth that are going to be doing them. Remember, this is supposed to be fun. Don't let the pressure get to you about whatever number that you place, etc. Judges are there to help coach you along as well to make showing livestock in the arena a more of an educational setting. There's life outside the show ring, and the things that you do there can translate into your time management, your preparedness, your attention to detail. So it's a good chance for kids to learn more duties and do it very, very well. When I say showing livestock, we're talking about putting halters on calves. We could be doing that with sheep. You can't really halter a pig. Pig, you just got to sort of lead them around. Pigs aren't quite that easy to move. But in all fairness, when you're working with a halter broke animal, don't wait till the last minute, because you want to know the ins and outs of that animal. They want to be comfortable. They shouldn't be scared of a crowd. And judges want to remind you to have fun while you're doing it. My uncle has trained my nieces and nephews, helped them with their calves, and his favorite method of getting that calf to follow a kid, he would take a nipple off a calf bottle and he'd put it in the kid's back pocket on their jeans. So the calf sees that nipple and recognizes that it belongs to the bottle, and they just follow along. They just want to go with for the ride, you might say. I was talking to a livestock producer this morning, and he said for many years, in order to train their bulls for show class, they would have a donkey. And they would tie the halter on the bull to the donkey. Because who's going to win, the bull or the donkey?
Yeah,
the donkey will do the training.
Yeah.
Yes. So when the donkey eats, the bull eats. When the donkey drinks, the bull drinks. And when the donkey wants you to go, the bull didn't get a choice. So that was a great training method as well. One animal to the other.
Oh, that's great.
So things to keep in mind. And as we approach this holiday season, be sure to make sure your mental health is part of your best well-being. Take some time off if at all possible. Right now, those challenges in farming include things like financial pressures, the isolation, especially if you have livestock and you can't get away this time of year. A very fuzzy line between a work-life balance. A lot of us in agriculture don't have a good one. And then also the regulatory pressures that we're facing. If you are starting to notice change in mood or behavior with folks around you, their withdrawal from social activities they once enjoyed, even physical symptoms like fatigue and digestive issues, as well as overuse of substances, make sure to sit them down, have a talk. If it's you, well, you're going to want to talk to someone. And if you're looking for resources, where to find that help, feel free to drop me an email, ag@flagfamily.com. I keep a list for the region. I'll be happy to help.
And
who's our caller?
Well, he hung up, but we got all his information. I believe it was Scott, was it not, Addison? That wasn't Scott Hennon, was it?
No, I don't think he would be eligible
I
to
wouldn't
win.
think so. Okay.
No, I'm afraid not.
Yeah, so big congratulations to Scott from Fargo. You are qualified now for that beautiful trip out to Vegas to go see the Eagles at the Sphere. And we've got quite a few qualifiers, but like as Bridgette said earlier, if you can't get through, you can always go out to one of our events and qualify out there. So numerous ways to get in on this. So hopefully we get a winner that's a big Eagles fan and maybe that's never been out to Vegas. That's always a nice first excursion out there. If you've never been out there, but I haven't been out there in about 10 years, And before that, I hadn't been out there for 10 years prior. We used to go out there all the time, and just the amount it's changed over the last 10 years is incredible. So much to do and so much fun out there. So let's recap. Quick look at the forecast before we call it a day here. We do have quite a bit of cloud cover around the area, a little filtered sunshine, but temperatures really not going far. Single digits, dropping down to 0, then rising temperatures overnight tonight. And then as we head into the weekend, slow warm-up. Teens on Saturday, upper 20s on Sunday. So that'll do it for Bridgette, myself. Don't go anywhere. Number one show in the country is coming up next, Jay Thomas Show.